Hello everybody, Gonadra here. Welcome back to Iracing, the experimental season. This week we are going to try something very different than last week and go to the Star Mazda. This is a car I drove years ago in looking up the setups that I had in my folder. 2010 was the last time I actually drove this car in a race. Last season I did one practice session in it at Road America, and that is the last time I've driven this car and the only time I've driven this car in its current configuration. It's a car that's gone under a lot of changes. They have upgraded the tire model, so I'm really interested to see if I enjoy it more this time around than I did last time around, and if maybe this is a good fit for us. It's not quite as high ranked as GT3, but it is indeed a much faster and more intense style racing than the advanced Mazda, so it's somewhere in the middle between the two. So I'm quite curious to see how it goes. We are at Barber Motorsports Park. This is a brand new track to me. I just downloaded it, so have never turned a lap here. It's a very interesting track. Has some very strange entries, I think, is the biggest part of the track. The entries are never, just a straight on, hit your mark and turn in kind of turns. They're always you're always at a little bit of an upset angle, basically, into the turns. There's either some elevation, there's another turn in front of the turn that will offset your line. It's a very interesting track. Star Mazda racing in general, it's obviously our first approach into open wheel racing, which means you have to pay a little bit more attention to car-to-car contact, stuff like that. You can't be, not that you can ever do any bumping and rubbing in iRacing and get away with it. But you really got to be careful with that stuff in cars like this. Another interesting thing about this series is that the qualifying is part of the race weekend, so there's no qualifying session that you could just rejoin over and over and redo over and over again to get the fastest time. The group that is going to race will have a qualifying session in that same group right before the race. You get 12 minutes as a group to qualify, and then you just automatically, once that's done, go into the race. I really like that format. It encourages everybody to qualify, and I think it probably makes for a more realistic qualifying time format, so people are maybe more correctly spaced out. Alright, here we go, getting ready to grid. We have qualified in 4th position. That is a much different qualifying format. I think I kind of liked it, though. I definitely feel much more warmed up for this race, prepared for it, whatnot. We're going to be going to the standing start style of races again, and it's a little bit weird with this car. You'll see it in the way that it launches.
Green, green.
Yep, because it kind of dies off the line there. But he's gingerly into turn 1.
Car on your left.
Ooh, someplace kind of launched wide.
Still
Still there.
All clear.
Pretty clear behind us, though. 4th place being a little aggressive. Do have to watch the snap oversteer. I think you just experienced that. One thing I have not experienced with this car is the draft. Not extensively, anyway. And it does have a big impact with these cars. Oof, that was a moment. Kind of high-sided on the curb there. So it may be to the point where I can't go flat out in areas like that. Once we start getting the draft. Right there was an example of pretty much the biggest problem I'm having with this car is not being able to get its sequential gearbox to downshift. I don't know what it is about it, or if there's something I could adjust in my driving style to fix it. Comes with experience, I'm sure.
1 minute 29.6.
I was thinking that's probably not the smartest place to try and make a pass. Okay, yeah. Cold tires in this car do not get along very well. still fighting that over shit. It really starts to handle well after about 3 or 4 laps. So I'm just trying to get it to that point. I think it's a combination of this car and this track. Seems like it's pretty low grip, this asphalt here. Nope. Missed my marks, so wasn't able to. Taking it pretty easy. A little gun shy after the experiences from last week. I really want to finish the race. It's very hard to gain experience and learn the series if you don't finish the race, so definitely finishing is my top priority.
1 minute 22.117.
Overall, in these cars, though, I feel much more comfortable than I did in the GT3. Whoa,
Got one
okay.
on your left. Still there.
Well, I felt more comfortable until that happened.
Keep right there. Still there. What's the line? All clear, all clear.
Jeez. You're lucky I'm a nice person, guy. You're lucky I'm a nice person. It's okay. You're gonna wreck. I can feel it. I'm pretty good at predicting when people are gonna wreck. He gave me that vibe. The overly try-hard attitude. Doesn't usually get you far. This is the end of the track I'm kind of struggling with, I feel like. Especially in the race, but even in qualifying I was noticing that. Just not comfortable enough through that section.
1 minute
Missing my marks and whatnot.
20.701.
But overall, this track is severely a challenge as far as hitting your marks and stuff like that because of the way it's laid out. The entries for most of the turns are either on an incline or in a existing bend, like a chicane or something like that, which makes it more difficult. And in some cases, it's got both in there, like this one coming up. Combine that with a car with no ABS and easy to lock up brakes, and you got yourself a challenge. Let's really focus on hitting marks, clicking off some lap times. I'm running significantly slower than I know I can. Moments like that aren't helping, in the least. Probably doesn't look like much on camera, but trust me, the car is very upset in instances like that. Steering wheel gets extremely light.
1 minute 22.5.
Still 22. I was pretty consistently running 21s in practice, and with the draft I should be doing even better than that. So, I gotta shape up. Gotta do better. There we go. That's where I need to brake. Get back to the gas when I should. Right back up in the draft now. Maybe I'm not letting my foot all the way off the gas pedal. Because I just had that again, where the car would not downshift, and certainly has an impact on your braking ability. But I'm not shaking this guy behind me at all. Ooh. So sketchy when it does that. Yeah, here we go again. Missed the line through here. The guy behind me being very patient. through all of my screw-ups.
1 minute 22.294.
This end of the track doing pretty well. Well, I was. Not so much this time around. Overall, I'm a little disappointed in my consistency right now. Did a lot of practice for this and was not having these issues. This race is relatively quick as well. The lap times are low and there's only 20 laps, so not a whole lot of time to make up for mistakes. And I've made more than a few already. But we're still running. That's good. That is a good thing. For the longest time, I was not able to hold it flat through there. So learning how to do that and getting comfortable with that is definitely a big part of learning this track. I feel like I'm charging this turn too hard now. That wasn't bad. I think this will be our first 21 lap, at least.
1 minute 21.8.
21.8, that's not too bad. Qualifying times were low, or I guess high. High is with the word I would use there. They were not very good. I was a little surprised by that. It seemed like everybody in practice was running much faster than that, and I believe we are in top split here. So I certainly expected times to be faster. Now things are starting to click. You can see the speed is increasing. Lines are starting to be hit. Time is being made up. So that's certainly the number one spot where draft comes into play. Entry speed there is significantly higher. Mess up this turn. Yeah, this is definitely my best ever lap. Thanks, Draft, for being there.
1 minute 21.2.
Very nice. Most importantly there, got ourselves some breathing room to the guy behind us. Definitely wanted that. Getting him out of the draft is good news for us. Have to be oh so soft on the brakes and then prepared to catch it out of there. I'm trying to take it much easier down through here. As we pass by the awesome museum over there, if you ever have the opportunity to go to Barber Motorsports Park, definitely go to the museum. Lots of awesome motorcycles, race bikes, and stuff like that. But also a place where you can actually get up close and personal with some historic F1 cars. And just the building, the structure itself is really incredible too, so something to be seen. My first in real life trip here was last year with the Miata. Obviously as a crew member, not a driver. It's probably now on my list of favorite tracks to go to in real life. This guy seems to be getting a little nervous now. Which I like to see, he's doing stuff like that. All we need him to do is hop one of those curves the wrong way one time and we'll slip right back by. I'd say he's even probably holding me up a little bit, but That's hard to say when you got the draft going. He's displaying there. Same thing I was displaying with the oversteer on entry. Still missing that line on occasion. Maybe they'll recover from it okay, but losing a tenth or two in these cars is really important.
1 minute,
It's really a big deal because the draft is so important. That turn's all about hitting the gas at the very right moment. Not a millisecond too late, not a millisecond too early. Same kind of goes for this turn. That was a millisecond too early, and you saw what happened. It seems like this is the area where the track I'm really closing in on them. If I could get that sector 4 cleaned up, we could really start doing some work. Let's just let it hit the limiter. I don't think there's an advantage to going to 6th there at all. That hill. Okay, he pulled a cone dodger. Unfortunately, cone dodger pulled a cone dodger. Neither one of us got sector 3 right. We're gonna get the 3 car back in this in no time.
1 minute, 21.789. 10 to go.
Halfway done. Car is now handling perfect. It's probably as good as it's going to get in this race. Tires at the right temperature and the right amount of wear. Why, hello there. Okay, do we show the nose here? Just to freak him out. The real danger in this is letting the 3 catch us. Don't want that to happen at all. Too much curve there that time.
Oh, it's chilly. Oh, man.
Looks like there was a wreck ahead of us.
That was tough. Oh, look at that.
I was oddly chasing the back end through that whole section. I don't really know why. Try and shake it off though. It's showing him still in second place. Maybe he had to escape to the pits. Oh, he's off.
Get back in 3rd. Keep digging. There you go, man. Good job.
Boy, we hit that line perfectly there. And at just the right time. I don't think I'm close enough to go up there and attack.
Got one on your right.
He couldn't get back to the gas though, so it all worked out for us. Now he's gonna have the draft.
Oh yeah, that looks tough.
Yeah, now let's try and stretch this out if we can. Let those 2 battle it out. That would be most ideal. That clip limiter back end kind of wants to come around there. If I could just get this last turn right every time. Last sector. Probably leave them no problem. Just keep doing that. He tells himself.
1 minute, 21.302. You're in 2nd. There you go, man. Good job.
Ooh, lost the nose a little bit there. It's very subtle the way this car either loses the nose or loses the back tires. And that's, I think, what I like about it the most. not like that freaking rough. That well, it was pretty rough about it. You know, when it was losing the nose or it was losing the tail, it did it in such a drastic way that by the time I even realized it, it was too late. Wearing a jacket, and I wish I wasn't. It got a little unseasonably cool here in Florida this week, and nothing warms a room up like doing a little sim racing. What the hell did I just do there? It's okay, we got room behind us yet. But I'd like to keep that room. Luckily, they're having a battle royale behind me.
1 minute, 22.
Let's not do that again. Let's not do any of that again. I need not pay attention to what they're doing. Just assume that they're far enough back that I need not worry. And click off laps. That is the hardest thing to do in a race car, is just slow yourself down. Focus on hitting your marks. Especially when there's nobody around you. I think I kind of said this last week. It's always nicer to have other cars around you to judge your speed than to try and go it alone. Which is part of the reason I think time trial is not as respected as it should be, because those guys are indeed always out there by themselves and just racing the track at all times, not racing other people. Yeah, I don't know. Second's almost necessary there, but it's not quite. Now the 8 start catches again.
1 minute, 22.41.
I've certainly slowed down. I don't think there's any reason to. The tires shouldn't be going off yet. Although the leader's not really running away from me either. He's probably got the same mentality of let's just take this thing home and cruise to an easy victory, but I don't think I have it quite as easy as he does. All that would have to happen is the two behind me to stop racing. I will be curious to see what the average I rating of this race is. If it's anywhere around 2,000, then I'm going to be pretty ecstatic about the performance of this race so far. Even if I do throw it away in that section right there, like I have tried to do multiple times. Remember what I said about the leaders staying pretty much the same distance? No longer true. It's no longer a fact.
1 minute, 22.001. 5 to go at the line.
5 to go. This is another aspect I really like about the car, or at least this setup, which brings me on to something else I need to talk about. But yeah, this setup, the way the brakes are, took me a bit of getting used to. It's interesting that the car is overall very loose on the brakes. However, it's more prompt to lock up the front tires, so that's a little backwards. You wouldn't expect that, but it gives it a nice amount of drivability. When you're a little tight on entry, you can use the brakes to kind of get it to turn in if you use it effectively. A little bit too much curve. But yeah, this setup was provided by... There's our first infraction, that's okay. It's not bad at all. Was provided by a guy who calls himself True Racer. Some of you may know him. He's kind of new to the Iracing video content. but has certainly made a name for himself rather quickly. I don't always agree with his methods of self-promotion and stuff like that. But you gotta respect somebody that can put so much effort into a series like this, like he does. He's kind of rebirthed this whole Star Mazda series in Iracing. He provides setups, he provides video help. He provides me the power to do oversteer maneuvers like that, apparently. Yeah, overall, he does put a lot of effort into helping build up this series and get people interested in it, so I do have to respect him for that. And I'm glad that he provides a setup, because nobody else seemed to, which was weird. I've not seen a series like that where everybody was so tight to their chest with setups, but certainly very helpful. I'd say tires are maybe starting to give up just a wee bit. Car's starting to lose a little bit of drivability. Yeah, you can see at moments like that where it's just starting to get a little skaty. Not too far to go, though.
1 minute 22.638.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it has the turn-in like it once did. Which is not good, because the 8 is closing. If he gets within 2, then we might be in trouble. So let's shut up and drive, do a little focusing here. Definitely see the oversteer there. One of the things with this car, though, you can pretty much just keep your foot in it in moments like that. The rotary doesn't have too much torque, so when it spins him, it's usually not anything extreme. Oh, we got a big gap now. He must have had a moment. Alright, well let's drive a little smarter then, since it is starting to get a little skaty. This thing down at 90%.
2 laps to go.
Just 2 laps to go.
1 minute
Brake
22.1.
Turn 1 is probably one of the sketchiest parts of the track when it comes to actual door-to-door racing. I remember during our Spec Auto weekends, the sight lines into turn 1 are probably amongst the worst on the track as far as spectating goes, and it made me the most nervous watching the first few laps as everybody dove into turn 1, because you could be sitting on the hill watching kind of the turn 2 area and just holding your breath, making sure our car, Damon, and we had our quote-unquote team car Colin there as well, make sure they came through. Because I did see a couple incidents over there. Now, really backing it down now. Nice and easy. I can tell the leader's doing the same, because he's not stretching it out either. Because it is really starting to get skaty, which is very surprising.
White flag this time out. 1 more to go.
I didn't expect that out of this car. I don't remember getting a 5 laps of fuel call, so it makes me wonder if maybe a little bit too much fuel on board.
1 minute 23.183.
Gallon of fuel here and there isn't going to make the difference between first and second in this case. Like I said, I'm very interested to see what kind of field we had here. Because if this was a decent field, we may, week 2 into the experimental season, we may have found ourselves a pretty decent home. But it can be just a car and track combo too. Although this is my first time ever running at Barber, some tracks you're just naturally better at than others. It just some things click with you. And when I first started lapping here, I didn't necessarily think this would be one of them, but the more I run here, it's gotten a little better. It certainly has its scary spots, like this whole section. This turn, definitely, I have not quite got a grasp on. Here we go, crossing the line. P2 in our first ever Star Mazda race. Not bad at all, not bad at all.
Checker flag this time by. Great job.
Alrighty, well, how about that? Number 2, and the strength of field was indeed 1933, which isn't terribly high, but isn't very low either, so I am very okay with the results. And we only ended up with one incident. We actually crossed over back into the 3s of the safety rating, which means we get, let me highlight this, means it gives us a 0.4 bump on top of what we got in the race, which ends up to a 0.72 bump, so we're back to 3.45, which means if I do enough of the Class B races this season, I could be eligible to upgrade up to a Class A. We'll see, maybe that will happen this season as well. But overall, a pretty darn good race. I am very excited for those results. We were competing with people in Division 3, including one Division 2 racer there, so all very good signs. Let me know what you think of the race, let me know what you think of this series, and maybe we'll see more of it in the future. But thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time.